Pic.Think, thinking through media.
Alright guys, let's begin.
Okay, we've been waiting.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's... How long? Yeah, 20 minutes.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay, alright. So,
Here we
we are, back again. How are we?
Good. Happy that the sun is finally picking up.
Alright, so who I have with me, the beloved Gladys and Raveen.
Hello guys.
Hello.
Yeah, Gladys, future speech therapist. Raveen, future psychoanalysis, psychologist. I don't even know the difference between them.
Me, I'm still figuring it out.
And you've studied it for how long?
Well, I'm still in the process of studying.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot of new words recently.
Let me first start by asking you, what films and TV have you guys watched recently?
Films, Toy Story 4.
You have watched it?
Oh my god, yes. It's so funny. You have to go and watch it. It's hilarious.
Okay.
Like, better than number 3. Better than 3. Did you love 3?
Yeah.
Why is your face like that?
3 was good.
3 was good. I felt like 3 was better than 2. No, you
Which
didn't
one
think
was
so.
2 again?
2 is the one with Andy's when he was getting the collection.
They went.
Okay, actually,
Wait,
I was Toy Barn.
When they went into
I'm not
the
Andy.
school.
I was Toy Barn.
That
was the
3.
that was the second. The school was the
3.
third.
I like 3.
3 was very. That was emotional.
Nah, 4's hilarious. You have to go. They're getting these new toys that are clearly black characters, and they're just.
Oh, it's Key and Peele.
Oh my god!
It's Key and Peele. You know those.
Is
two,
it?
You talking about the blue and yellow?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Key and Peele.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious. You gotta see it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. It was
I heard that it's emotional as well. Is it?
Oh,
Like
it was
yeah.
It is.
Should I tell you the
No.
end? Oh, yeah, it is. It's like,
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah,
That's
we'll
the
watch
film
it.
I watch, yeah.
Okay, so that one's on the watch list, definitely. I already put it on the watch list that I sent you guys from a long time. Alongside, have you guys watched Aladdin? I haven't watched
Not
it
yet.
I haven't watched.
I've heard it's good though.
Yeah.
I've heard it's good.
things, but
I need to watch that too.
I think I've only seen the original like once, you know?
Yeah, I think
Once,
I've only
really?
read the book.
Yeah.
Can't lie,
Really?
I don't think
I
I've seen
think
the
I've
original.
seen-
I saw the original late, and I heard the story, but I saw
Yeah.
the original like when was it? Like
Decades.
a couple years ago.
Oh.
Couple years ago that I watched it for the full from front to back.
Yeah, I don't think I have. Like, I remember
Yeah,
from childhood bits, but
But that's the same as what I was telling you about the Pinocchio thing. I hear like I remember bits or like I know the story roughly, but I never watched it until recently.
I need to. I think we had better films in our day than now.
Mm.
Yeah.
Kids films, really.
Dumbo, did you guys watch that one?
No.
No.
Does that come out?
Yeah, that was in March.
In March.
Yeah, it came out in March. Yeah.
That was
No.
very low key.
yeah, that came out in
Wow.
March.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you watch it?
no,
Okay.
but I only watched Dumbo
Okay.
recently as well. The first one.
Oh,
I
no,
didn't
the
watch.
first one I had on video.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
it's cute. The first one.
yeah. But it seems a bit. I don't know. A bit empty. Like I feel like there's no real climax in that film.
Yeah, but I think maybe that's because of when it was filmed in the 90s. It was
1941, if I'm not.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
nearly 100 years ago.
So-
Same thing as
wow.
Pinocchio,
Crazy.
1940. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Damn.
Yeah, long time. That's why they're classic. That's why they're regarded as
Yeah.
classics. 'Cause
Fair enough.
a long
They've
time.
come back out now.
Mm.
It's been a good. Oh, wow. But
Mm.
no, I need to watch both of those. Aladdin and Dumbo.
And what about TV now? What you guys were talking about.
TV
Oh,
when
yeah,
they see
When they
us.
see
Yeah.
us, that's the one that I need to watch now.
Very
You need
relevant.
to watch
very hard
it.
to watch,
You
but
need
very
to. Yeah.
an essential piece of
I think
watching.
that's one of the hardest things that I've had to watch.
Mm.
Really?
Yeah. I don't recall watching something that was just so hard to get through. Like,
Yeah.
ugh.
But then watching it, I was also like, as sad as it was, I was like, wow, this is the best piece of TV like I've seen in a while that has
Yeah.
actually made me feel and think, and
Yeah.
is more than just, I don't know, everything's so the same these days. You just watch it for the sake of watching.
But that
But
one
that
seemed
was
like an
real,
essential.
like emotion, like
Yeah,
it was a
definitely.
great piece of work.
Okay, that will be on the list. So
Yeah.
let's say the Disney films.
Yeah.
We'll do one on those, and then we'll do one on When They See Us
Yeah.
as a TV next time. That sound
Yeah.
good? So Lion King's set to be out on the 19th in the UK. It's out on the 12th, I think, in the US.
The 19th of July?
Yeah.
Oh.
So then we can make a session at the end of July and then we can do that.
I already know I've seen it more than once.
So, holler at me when you are going to see it.
Like, one time I'm going to watch it, another time I'm going to sing. How can you not?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's just gonna be sick.
Exactly.
And the cast,
Beyonce knows.
I hope she's not too majestic though, but we're in her role.
I think.
I hope she's in her role. I don't think Beyonce.
Exactly. I hope so.
I don't know. Let's see.
We'll see. Also, I forgot to say, do you guys want to plug in your social medias if you want people to follow you, or would you prefer the private life? That look made it seem as though you
I don't really have anything to show.
Okay.
I don't really have anything.
Well, I've got YouTube that is currently on pause. You know when life gets to you a bit, you know, but soon I'll be back onto it. So that's G Vanessa, and then I always get my socials always mixed up. Saeed, you know them better than me.
Okay, so
he does.
He actually does.
Wait, it's G Vanessa X on Twitter, or is it XX?
I think it is on Twitter.
XX or X. I think it's
X on Instagram.
I thought as much. So X on Twitter, XX on Instagram, and Snapchat. I think I know it.
Snapchat is Glasbag.
Glasbag. I know yours as well.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking I need to change my name so I can be harder to find. Just and for work, I'm like, I can't.
And if you want to find me, at Sage Conscious, but I'm private, so you might as well follow me on Pic.Think. So at Pic.Think, Pic.Think on Instagram, at Pic_Think on Twitter, and just Pic.Think without dots on SoundCloud. What other? Yeah, I think that's it. And obviously on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe.
Exactly.
You need to do that for your own channel.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into
it.
So,
things in the background.
Oh, yes.
Let's already technology's set up perfectly now. Let's not ruin it. Hold on. What are we starting with?
Bandersnatch.
I'm thinking to do a crossover.
Okay.
So I'm going to do something a bit different where I'm going to ask you the questions from season 5 and then I'll kind of ask a similar question from Bandersnatch, but in a different way, obviously related to Bandersnatch. Okay. All right. So let us begin. So the first question I have is, if you had total control of technology, so for example, virtual reality, computers, military weapons, so on and so forth, medicine, so on and so forth, what would be the most selfish thing you choose to create, and what would be the most altruistic thing you do for others? And by others, I also mean non-human animals and the environment.
Oh my gosh.
What's the most selfish thing that I'd create?
Money.
What? Money?
Money.
You'd create money?
For me, it's a selfish thing.
Yeah.
That would help with a lot.
I swear that you got the printing thing.
3D. Technology's amazing.
Wouldn't that just cause the inflation?
Very selfish, you see?
Yeah.
I'd be winning because I can just get endless amounts of money.
That's good idea.
For me, everyone else would be suffering. Obviously, I wouldn't want to do that because I'm not a selfish person. But that would help a lot. Or like endless jets and things so I can travel. Not good for the environment, very selfish because I'd be a private jet, wouldn't take others. But I'd love it. That would be great.
Yeah. To be able to travel that what's the word? You know, there's the word the phrase financial freedom if you have money, as much money. I was thinking of like something freedom for like being able to travel. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Is that a real thing? Adventure freedom.
That kind of thing.
Something like that.
What did I say? I think this one was a hard one for me.
Yeah, it is quite hard.
It is a hard question because I didn't know exactly what I'd create for myself.
Yeah, I wouldn't think from that perspective. If I thought I'm in control of all technology, I think big scale, not just how can I benefit.
the thing I know what I'll do for others and everything else. I'd find a way to kind of reuse all this waste, like plastic, in like a way that it uses energy efficiently, I suppose. So let's say, for example, I'd probably find the most efficient ways to use the most efficient, but at the same time least damaging ways to inflict harm on the earth, but use that as fuel. Let's say, for example.
Okay, so like a recycling, but...
Yeah, but it's like, let's say, for example, I don't know, solar panels on every single house, like every single roof or something, so then it will be able to power it no matter where you are in the world, something like that.
Yeah.
And this, like, let's say, for example, you know, there's certain plastics and stuff like that that can't be...
disintegrated or whatever.
Yeah, disintegrated. There would be a way to kind of use that or reuse it in a way that... is beneficial for people rather than throwing it away. So right now it's about, oh yeah, we'll just dispose of it because it's easier just to get rid of it than to kind of reuse it or something like that, or find a way to reuse it. I want to use technology in a way that it would be able to use it in a way that it's more beneficial to reuse it than to dispose of it, that kind of thing.
Yeah. If only they could.
So, but that's not just for plastic. That's just for all waste.
Generally,
waste in general. I'd want to find a way to use waste productively. That kind of thing, basically. Yeah. But selfish, I'll need to kind of come back to that.
Technology.
I don't know. I'd want to do something for like, I don't know.
There's a few. I would want to do something. I don't know how it wouldn't throw off the whole balance of the earth though, but to create enough food in terms of. People don't need to be overeating because that's causing obesity and people to die. And then you've got people who are starving. So, I mean, there's already enough food in the planet that's just disproportionately dispersed. So I would find a way to just make that equal, I guess, or to eradicate serious poverty in a way. So that where there aren't... Because right now it's mad when you think the 1% have the same amount as like 99%. That's insane. So I would just find that a way to make more equality. But then, I don't know. Also, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't just want to start creating more food for places that don't have it. Because, like I said, there is enough, but it's just not.
It's not going to those places.
Yeah, it's not reaching those places. So some way to just make that fair.
Yeah, I guess with that technology, you can use like different ways to. Get that food
right.
around.
This country's got their quota of food. That's enough. Start putting it somewhere else. Like, make it work.
Oh.
But I don't know how.
There is... this just reminds me of an app that I came across called Too Good To Go. Have you guys heard of it?
No.
It's basically an app where you can kind of... What's the word? It basically sees all... Like, in your area where there's like food that's going to go to waste at the end of the day. And then it gives you like a... not disproportionate, but a really reduced price. So let's say, for example, if it was £12 or something, it might get reduced to £3 before they throw it away.
Too Good To Go.
Yeah, Too Good To Go. Yeah, that one. I have it installed on my phone, but I haven't used it just yet. But it seems like it's legit, and it just uses your GPS to find where you are, so then you can find which is closest. But stuff like this is why I feel like I'm not against technology, because I feel like
there are, if it's used in the right way.
Yeah, exactly. We could definitely use it.
I think I would use it in some way as well to have... I know that we have CCTV and these sort of things, but to find ways to make more justice. Speaking in terms of, like we were talking about, when they see us, or even... What did I see earlier this year? If Beale Street Could Talk. So it's a similar concept. Like, this guy gets charged for something he didn't do and he ends up doing 25 years in prison or whatever. His missus is about to have a kid and he didn't do the crime, but back then there was no... proof, like no witnesses came forward, but he was in a completely different location. So if I could use technology to make it in a way that you can actually go back and see and prove that this crime wasn't done by this person, so people aren't getting done for things that aren't, just so there's more justice.
Like in Crocodile, the episode Crocodile.
Yeah.
That does,
Yeah. I mean, it comes with its bad sides, but...
It comes with its bad sides, but it does have its positives, like we said on the last one. If you guys were wondering about the inspiration behind this question, it's because I was watching someone, I don't know if you heard of Sadhguru?
No.
It's just like a spiritual speaker on YouTube, I think. So I saw one of his speeches. He said that he had heard from someone who worked in tech. He doesn't know the figures exactly. But he said that he had heard that 70% of the internet traffic is pornography. And so...
70%?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Crazy, yeah. So then that just seemed like a Bless you. And that just seemed. He said, okay, the quote is exactly 70% of the internet traffic is pornography. ... What's happened to us when such a powerful medium that we can communicate with the entire world? Don't we have anything better to say? Or anything better to spread, I should try and say. And that kind of spoke to me in the sense of this Striking Vipers episode, where it was as if they had the chance to go into a virtual reality, but what they used it for was sex.
You can do so much. Like, you literally in virtual reality. Oh my God, what a waste. Yeah, but I think that comes down to like human instinct.
That human instinct.
When you think about it, going back to like Freud and stuff, everything does come down to like, as humans, we have these innate like drives for survival, which are sex, food, water, and like security, safety, and that will always be our primary needs, no matter how much you try to go from that. But yeah, we can be more productive than having a whole nother opportunity to create different reality. And
But the thing is, at the same time, I was thinking, if we made a virtual reality, what would be the non-selfish way to use it? In the same way like this, if we could put ourselves in a virtual reality, what would be the least selfish way to kind of use it?
I don't think it would be.
I think, to be honest, that was the...
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I was stumped like that as well. But then when I was thinking about it, I was thinking of San Junipero. I was thinking, oh yeah, you could probably do something like that where you can kind of live forever in a virtual reality. You wouldn't have to... Yeah, you could live in like a time... Back in time. In a time where you're happy, you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It is selfish. It is selfish.
It's a good time for you. But...
Yeah, true. So how would we be able to do that? How would we be able to use virtual reality in a way that it helps others? In this way, if we're thinking about this story, anyway.
I guess for like old people who don't have people around, like
isolated people.
A way for them to connect.
A way for them to connect. With. And in a virtual reality, it's kind of like everything's the way you want it to be, and you don't have to like physically get up and do things. So, I guess for them,
that's true.
Benefit.
So let's say, So let's say someone that has had like one of their limbs chopped off or something like that, they would get the experience of what it feels like to walk or run again.
Or maybe people with dementia as well to relive memories
like
they've forgotten.
People who don't have company or family.
With medicine, maybe I don't know how far we're going in terms of this virtual reality. But say like you have these risky medical trials that come out that they don't want to try on humans yet because they don't know how good the effect's going to be. To do like medical trials like that, I guess, to find cures for things. But,
medical trials actually, that could be a good one. So then it shows the damage in the reality, but not in the virtual reality, not in physical.
Testing it.
That's a good one actually.
Someone that's not.
Or animals or anything like that. Instead of testing it on them or people, they'll feel the pain, but then they'll be able to tell you what the pain is like and all this stuff.
Yeah,
they'll be able to give you the
back and the pain's just
and it's gone. Actually, that would be a good one. Yeah, that would be a good one. We were talking about connection. Actually, it will lead into this from this question. So I'll say, what would you say are the central themes of Black Mirror season 5, and what would you say are the central themes of Bandersnatch?
Season 5.
It's hard, isn't it?
It's hard,
it's a hard one.
But there was a very real element to it. Like, it wasn't as, I don't know, like even this one with Striking Vipers, this virtual reality is something that is becoming so big nowadays for us. Same with the other one, what was it, the middle, I don't remember what the second episode was called.
Smithereen.
Smithereen, when he's addicted to going on the social media or whatever. It was all very, very current things. And it wasn't, some of the previous series have been, I don't want to say more fantasized or just...
in a different time.
Yeah. Whereas this is more very, very real. It was...
Well, it felt like modern.
Yeah.
Much more modern. You felt so? I felt like it felt modern throughout. This one felt like these two. I think Smithereen, I liked it because it showed, both of them, it kind of shows obviously the dangers of virtual reality and social media on both of those episodes. and on the third one as well. What was that one? Jack?
Oh yeah.
Something I can't remember.
Cyrus.
The one with Miley Cyrus. It shows the dangers of those. I felt like, if I'm kind of going off what you say, I feel like it was kind of real, like it was real relevant to what the troubles would be of like the fact that we're addicted to social media and the fact that we're addicted to our phones and stuff like that. And I don't want to ruin one of my next questions, but I felt as though it kind of showed how not paying attention, how detrimental it could be.
Yeah, because I see it more. I think modern is not the term I really want to use because, like you said, I think the other seasons have been as well. But this is less far-fetched than I think other seasons. This you can see come into play in real life.
I see.
More.
I see what you mean.
It was more realistic. It was more... Whereas in other seasons you had them in space or you had them in a different timelines, whereas this is like the one Smithereens, that's very plausible that could happen.
Oh, okay, I see.
It was more like... I don't know how I'm trying to describe it, but it was more realistic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I can see that.
Glamorized, sort of.
I think the thing is, I wouldn't agree with the glamorization because I felt like it was kind of, I don't know if it was just the execution of it, like being Americanized. Because I felt like the third episode was very glamorized, and but at the same time, it kind of showed like how imminent. Like, let's say, for example, it was talking about how you could have Ashley Eternal or whatever in that one. And that one, it felt like, you could... Now, like, you know, with streaming and all sorts of stuff like that, people just want it whenever they can access it.
Yeah.
The Ashley Eternal thing felt like we're getting to the point where we're not even going to enjoy, like, having, let's say, seeing someone live. We just think, I'll just have... It
is almost like that. It's nowadays that people go to concerts and you watch their Snapchat and it's like you're there. You don't even have to go. You're just watching it all. Or you do see, like now Glastonbury, they're streaming it live. It's like, why would you go? I can just watch it on TV. So
exactly.
it is...
It is getting to that point.
Yeah.
Also, then that actually makes me think. I think, you know what, I'm going to say, I had something else in my mind, but I think the central theme of season 5 is the diminishing value of face-to-face interaction.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Because it felt as though in Striking Vipers, Carl, he didn't enjoy the face-to-face interaction, like let's say with his girlfriend, as much as he did in the virtual reality.
Yeah.
And it feels as though we're moving to the point where people prefer to let's say communicate or to connect through social media as a replacement for face-to-face interaction.
Yeah, I
think that might be the danger that is warning in the first episode. The second episode is kind of like how we get hooked onto these things. Yeah. Like the fact that he got bored when he was driving, rather than being present, he was just like bored and he wanted to go into that virtual reality rather than
escapism.
Yeah, it's an escapism. Yeah, exactly. And the third, like I've said with the Ashley Eternal things, and the fact that we don't really appreciate, let's say, the human act, like let's say even just the mistakes that the human makes on stage, like the fact that they're playing off the crowd when they're actually in the concert, or the jokes that they make when you're actually there. It's different. It's the atmosphere you feel when you're around other people, and because when
scary.
Because let's say if you're streaming Glastonbury, people might think, what's the point? I could just stream it, less money, so and so and so forth. But you're not getting that.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. You're not getting that. Oh, this person's here. They're performing. They have their own mistakes. You're around other people who enjoy the similar types of music. The social element to it, as well.
But do you know what's sad as well? You see people who do actually go to the concerts to watch them live, and everyone's just recording it on their phone. It's like you're not actually enjoying the live performance. You're just recording it. It's
that
like,
as well.
You're not now. When I do, not that I even go to concerts that much, but I'm like, I'm not wasting the time missing it because I want to record it on my phone and then the whole performance is done. But that is the society we live in.
Yeah.
You didn't capture it. It didn't happen, did it?
Right. That's true. That is true. I kind of try and get a balance of it because at the same time I want to watch it back. But at the same time I don't want to...
I was going to say, but how many times do you actually go and watch it back?
Never.
Not you, hardly.
Clogging up memory space.
Yeah. It's true.
And then I'm sure you could just YouTube it and someone else will have footage.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, who has the time sometimes?
It's true. Like, legit.
So, for Bandersnatch, what would you say is the central theme?
Oh, that was a weird one.
Yeah.
It was a weird one.
That was a strange storyline. It was because they made it very obvious that you were in control. That the person in the character was being controlled. So there was this theme of like autonomy, like you're the one choosing it. That's what the storyline was based off as well. Like when he's shouting at the computer, like, "Who is this? Give me a sign." And then you give him the sign, like, "Who's controlling me?" It's like, is it Netflix? So it was very.
It was kind of like. I remember it was so weird because it made me like, because with Black Mirror, I'm always thinking about the underlying meaning. And I was just like, wait, am I controlling this game or are they controlling me? Am I in the game or am I not
the game?
It was so baffling. So I was just like, it kind of reminds me of the question you just asked about striking vipers. Like, if you were in a virtual reality, what would you do? And that was kind of like the case for Bandersnatch. You were actually in the game, sort of thing. So I don't know. No,
I get what you mean. That's exactly what I felt. There was a point when I was doing it, and I was like, I kind of came to a realization that like, oh, so you're trying to tell me that I'm Stefan. I was like, oh, is that what you guys are trying to say? I was like, okay.
You know what it was? They kept wanting me to kill Dad, and I was like, I don't want to kill Dad.
Yeah.
Why did you give me these options?
Exactly.
I don't want to kill my dad.
Exactly.
And then in the end, he still died. I thought, this is not the plan. I didn't want that to happen. So they still had an element of control, but it was.
Yeah.
I think you know what? There's an approach that I took to watching that one. I didn't control Stefan. I just watched like an overall view, and then it was like a recording of it. So I had like a God's eye view of it.
So you didn't press. I
didn't press. I didn't choose.
Oh, and then it would just go to a next.
It would just go to a next thing, and then it would show like what happened, what this person chose, and also it just showed what the alternate version of that choice would have been, and so on and so forth. So then that one kind of. I think I would have felt much more unsettled when I had that thought that I just told you guys about if I was actually controlling it. Because then I would think that, wait. And it kind of matches, the poster. The poster for it where it has those concentric circles on the guy's brain, on Stefan's brain.
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm talking about? Hold on, let me load it up. But yeah, no, it's like that. And it's kind of saying that it's like an infinite regress kind of thing. If you guys know what I mean. It just means like it goes back forever. So like, let's say, it seems as though what he is saying is that, you're controlling Stefan, but what if someone's controlling you to control Stefan?
Okay.
And so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. Felt like that's what he was trying to say. But what did you... Yeah? Wait, hold on, let me...
Yeah, that was weird actually now thinking about it, because then he was an experiment.
This one. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that one. Yeah. Really strange.
I was going to say, what did you... Okay, so considering season 5, episode 1, did you predict the turnout of events, or did it take you by surprise?
It took me by surprise.
What did you expect would happen?
I thought they were going to get in there and team up and just fuck shit up together. Just go get the baddies in the virtual reality, take hope, like, do some madness. They just didn't even leave this platform. You've got a whole nother reality and they just... And then they just...
Yeah, all they did was just change the scenery in which they would want to have sex.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
You can do so much. Not even, let's go explore, let's see what this virtual reality is about.
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant with the first question.
They did nothing,
They didn't do anything like that. They just...
No, I wanted to see the rest of the virtual reality. I was thinking, what's going on here in this planet?
Yeah.
It was a letdown.
Yeah. It was a letdown, you think?
I think it was good.
It was good.
Because it was kind of like, these things happen, like, in real life, obviously, like cheating on your partner. And that's obviously, like, in real life. So it was kind of interesting to see it happening, but it was in a virtual reality. So it was like, does it actually class as cheating?
That was the big question.
I was just like,
Can't I just throw the game away?
Yeah.
It's an expensive game, you know. It's an expensive
It's
game.
messing up his life.
Yeah, but that's what happens with people when they're addicted.
I know, it's true.
It's messing up your life. It's not
That's
easy
what
to
it is. Just there's this
throw it out.
attachment.
There's an attachment, exactly. But what you touched on, Gladys, a later question I'll get onto now. I was going to say, should people be morally accountable for the choices and action that they make in a virtual reality?
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Because ultimately it's still like you're making the decisions, so it's still your moral conscious that's choosing to do it, but then the repercussions aren't real. So if you know that you're not, like, you would kill your enemy because that's what you got to do, and you know they're not really dead, but in real life you probably wouldn't do that because you're like, well, I don't want their life to end. So I think, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
So.
Because in a virtual reality, I'd rob a bank, but you know, I don't think I'd do that in real life.
But what
so it's just like
I could successfully.
But what if it has repercussions on your real life? So you know how people talk about how, let's say, when people started trying to scapegoat, let's say, Grand Theft Auto or certain games about, oh, it's influencing children to do this, it's influencing people to do that. Yeah, should they be, not necessarily held morally accountable, but should those things be banned or censored because of the potential influences it might have?
Yes.
I think
so,
Not sure about banned.
Yeah,
but
some
definitely
moderation.
Censored and
But they say it from I think this was even like sociology in secondary school, like the kids are violent when they watch and listen to more violent things because it normalizes it for them. So if you are doing this in your reality and you're not seeing it in the virtual reality, they don't show you the effects of, or not in virtual reality, just gaming these days, they don't show you the effects of what you've done when you kill someone, how that affects their family, the pain people go through. They don't show you any of that. So they just gloss it over, and then it becomes more, just normal and just like, oh, why not? It's just a mundane thing, and that will translate into just like real life as well. So I think definitely it has an effect that should not be ignored, and that's why those games have an age limit on it or whatever. But I don't know, you can't blame them completely, but it does have, I think, a significant impact on how you would act in real life.
Yeah. Would you say the same thing about music then?
Yeah, to an extent.
You would say?
Yeah. I know for me, even as a person, like when I'm listening, for example, in the gym, I listen to more rap music or whatever because it pumps me. It makes me feel like, I'm not gonna be listening, because you get that aggression come out and you wanna. Yeah. It does. I'm not gonna listen to opera in the gym. That's gonna be calming and jazz music. It's not. It's just when you study, you listen to relaxing music. So of course, it affects your whole mood, everything.
I actually tried to experiment with that. I remember I played R&B at the gym, and it's not the same as because you need something to get you pumped in some way. I do feel that. I do sometimes switch it up because sometimes I don't really feel to kind of just have the same kind of pace. Sometimes I want to just take it easy, but I see what you mean in that regard. It does have that influence on it, even if it's a minor. But I feel like you said, I think there's several factors. Then we can't kind of just say, oh, it's that, and then and for it. But we should censor it and filter it like we already do, but just a bit more carefully.
But then it also, I think, just comes down to you as a person and discipline yourself. That's why I think I didn't like about Smithereens. I thought, well, you can't. I know you're blaming yourself at the end of the day, but you can't hate this man. Yes, he admitted to making the app really addictive. But if you notice that in yourself, put the phone down. It's the same with drugs. You know that it's addictive, that you can't blame anyone for you taking them. You know it's that way. You have to have some accountability, like you said, and be like, okay, well, I need to stop this. Because there's always going to be tempted things. It's up to you to resist it. You can't just blame others your whole life.
Literally.
It's easy, but...
Yeah, I was thinking that he was feeling guilty for himself, though. He just wanted to kind of admit. And then he wanted to he was intending to die. Or kill himself or punish himself. Basically. I think he was just attempting suicide.
I did not like that episode.
You didn't?
No.
Why is that, Gladys?
Right. It was, the build-up was a lot. And then it just went... And I was like, oh, hell no. I was like, no, I can't have watched all of that for that. And I couldn't even understand what the episode meant. Like, that's, like, I was searching for a meaning in it. And I was like, I don't know what I just watched.
I think
like,
for me, I felt like it was quite self-explanatory. As in...
Once he explained... Yeah.
Once he explained it, it was kind of like, okay, that makes sense, that's it. But it's like, it was like, it's not like a Striking Vipers where you can kind of try and unpack certain things like the intimacy between two males or the dangers of what is, like, do we say that it's morally corrupt to kind of do this kind of thing, despite being in a partnership, in a relationship, in a commitment. So I see that element of it, but I liked it not because of the narrative. I will say that the narrative felt a bit flat, but I enjoyed it thoroughly because of the message. I was like, finally, something that's just gonna let people know that there's danger in kind of not being present, not being mindful of the present, like not being mindful of the moment.
Don't people know that already though?
Yeah,
and then we're just ignorant.
That's how I kind of felt, because I felt like the message has always been there. We all know this message, like, don't be so addicted. Like,
I guess
social media can take over. Yeah, so I kind of felt like, okay, like, we know this. What's the real message that you're trying to give?
Yeah.
But and then at the end, when everyone was looking at their, like, I was like, did they see the, like, what were they looking at?
You know what I felt? What I felt that was telling. When they were looking at their phones, I felt as though what it was saying is kind of like everything just becomes like a minor distraction or a minor notification. Yeah. That whole thing, that whole aspect just became a notification.
Little newsflash.
And people just move on with their life.
And it was.
And that's how I feel though. When I'm looking at my phone and I get like a notification from Update, I'm just like, for a second I'm like, damn.
From where?
And for a second, Update.
Update. What's Update?
Update is like an Android kind of app where it kind of just shows you news.
Oh,
basically, it's like a news flash, and then it kind of has notifications like, oh, this has happened, so and so happened. So it's that kind of Android notification service. And so then, I just get a notification. I'm like, damn. And I'm feeling like, oh, I should be able to do something. But then what else can I do but put my phone in my pocket?
That's it, yeah. You just look at it and things just become...
And that's what you're talking about with like the normalization of like dangers and stuff like that in games and so on and so forth. It's becoming, news flashes are becoming normalized where certain things are happening and people are just like, well, can't do anything about it.
What's new? What's next? I think it's because the world's just going mad. Every day there's something. It's like, can we really be surprised?
I feel like the world is going to spin off its axis soon.
But I feel
the way it's moving so fast.
When everyone was saying, I
can't believe that this world is real at times.
Why do you say that?
Because I just literally can't believe like how it's just going over the edge. Like everything is just
going backwards.
I'm just like, this world is not real. We're a simulation. And, nothing is actually real.
Yeah.
Like, because it can't be.
It's not.
It can't be.
It's not. This is just the embodiment of like, it's just not. But it's...
Well, I think
you know how everyone was saying in 2012 the world's ending and we thought there's going to be a big explosion. I never took it to mean that. I think they mean everything from now is going, like the world is going to end. It's going downhill in terms of morality, humanity, everything is just... The world is ending as we know. The world as we know it is just... I mean, you've got Donald Trump in power. He's locking up kids in cages and we're doing nothing about it. This is the world we're living in. It's mad. Like you said, this isn't a real world. What's going on? What is happening?
It's an illusion, as Buddhists would say, Maya. We're in the world of Maya.
Yes. Yeah, my mum is constantly saying that. We are in Maya right now for another good 1,100 years.
Yeah. But to be honest, like what you said about the world ending from 2012, I feel like we were heading to 2012 and we're thinking, oh yeah, something's going to happen and then everything's going to stop at that point. And then when it didn't, it's just everything just still moving at the fast pace.
Like, let's go mad.
Yeah. And I feel like, I feel like the way that the world is moving so fast, it's like, it's just like let's say people working 7-day weeks just to get as much money as possible, not even taking into account their mental health, their physical health, just to survive, or not even just to survive, just to kind of live as much as selfishly as they possibly can. I don't want to judge everyone, but I mean as in like, instead of thinking about your own future self and thinking about like pacing yourself, you're thinking, how can I get as much as possible? I feel like that this world is pretty much, what's the word I'm thinking of? Materialistic, material focused, where everything's about what I can get now.
Yeah.
Immediate gratification. Yeah.
And it's so crazy as well with this whole social media stuff. It's like people actually act like clowns on purpose.
On purpose, just to get attention.
Literally.
For something that's not real.
Exactly.
I kind of want Instagram to just disappear, you know?
Same.
Like, I wouldn't mind for it to go.
Either.
I know people's jobs and livelihoods, but if you you're so focused on your likes, but if you don't look at your phone, they don't exist.
Mm.
They're not. It's not tangible. It's just. It's
and
not real.
It's like back in the day, like all these musicians and football players or whatever would have like side chicks or whatever, but it's like they weren't even trying to make themselves known. Whereas nowadays they're creating their own Instagram, their own brands, their own page, just being a side
stories.
chick.
Yeah.
Like, and people are actually like
buying
supporting
into it,
them, and it's just like. Wow.
Yeah, virtual reality. People are valuing that over everything else.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what we're saying.
It's not real life. You
Yeah,
want
it's
to live
not.
up to something. And it's sad for kids going, I'm so glad we didn't really have social media when we were primary school, secondary school. Because now kids, they'll see this person, I want to be like that. But it's not realistic. And you're trying to achieve this goal. You will always be upset and depressed about not being a certain way. It's not real. Yeah. It's just, it's a fake life we're living in.
Mm-hmm. And that also does remind me of Striking Vipers. I keep on going back to it, but of course it's part of the show. Like the fact that he's, let's say what's his character again? Danny. He wasn't happy with the reality in which he was living in. And he wanted like a bit of more. More. Like I think his whole thing was he loved fantasy and the excitement of things.
Yeah.
So that's, and Samuel, he pointed out to me that he was very much about the role playing at the beginning. You know, when he was role playing, pretending with his second half. You know, at the beginning when they were at the bar, and then he was like, "Oh, where are you from?" So and so, like as if they were strangers.
Yeah.
So he liked that fantasy, that chase,
yeah.
that aspect of things. And obviously, she has that element to her as well because she. Like when she was at the restaurant, she was talking about how I've given up so much. Like, what was the quote exactly? She says, it's boring. I get that. Family life. Shit, I find it boring. You think I haven't made sacrifices. I haven't denied things for myself. But that is what you do, isn't it? It's part of being in a partnership. You shut the door on all that shit. You shut it out because you've committed. It's what commitment is. Yeah, so that's her side of the story where she was trying to say, that we live in a life is going to be boring at times, like it was in Smithereen, but it's not a thing of trying to escape from that. No, it's about
making it what it is. Like that's
being present. But do you feel like their compromise at the end? Do you feel like what did you think about it? Did you think it?
So weird.
You think it
was
weird?
She gave him the game, wasn't it?
She gave him the game once a year, and so then he could link up with his brain.
And she can link up with her.
So he could have a date night.
Just dash the game, man.
Yeah, and then
she could link up with
whoever
guys at the bar.
She could be, So
that means ultimately then neither of them are happy in their real reality.
But
you have to go into a virtual reality to find your enjoyment. That means you need to change your real life. You shouldn't have to escape to get enjoyment out of it.
I agree, and that's why I found the episode unsettling. But do you feel as though it's true that they haven't found happiness when they were able to compromise once a year? They still seem as though they were happy, they still had children and so on and so forth. Then they were able to kind of just incorporate it into their lives where it wouldn't disrupt.
I guess, yeah, but once a year, really? What, just one day?
Mm-hmm. One day of fantasy.
And then that's it. Why don't you just make that one, why don't you just create fantasy between you that you can have every day? One day a year.
But reality doesn't work like that, you know?
Then I guess it's a good compromise. One day a year.
I feel like they had that in the beginning, but then life got to them.
Exactly. Yeah. So reality, that's where the responsibility is. I felt like it's saying that responsibility is in the real world.
Yeah.
And then
have a bit of fun.
Social limitations and all that stuff is out the window.
I get that. I get it's the same as going out and taking a shitload of drugs. You can start hallucinate, and that's your escapism. You're in your virtual reality there,
exactly.
isn't it? You just But yeah, it's a good compromise, but it's just sad that that's what we have to do.
It is sad. It was sad. It did feel sad when I was watching it. I was like, I was unsettled and I felt a bit sad. Like, this is what you...
This is not enough. That means
this is what fulfills you?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, as in, like, just going into the game and...
Yeah, like, your wife and your kids aren't... You can't make that enough. Not make it enough, but...
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I
that's life, and it is... It is sad that that's real life. It is very real.
It is real life. And I don't feel like technology is the cause of that, because like we said, with drugs, it happens as well.
Did you know that there was something, it was an earlier question, maybe it was the first or second question you were saying, about how we're going to not have, people are getting less comfortable with having face-to-face interaction and stuff. I was talking to my friends a couple of weeks back, and they were saying Japan is having like such a crisis at the moment because of their population, because people aren't having kids, because they don't know how to interact with each other anymore, because so many people are just online as it is. Like, you have 24-hour gaming shops all over like Japan and China and stuff, so people aren't knowing how to interact and be intimate with each other. So the generation, like the population, is just decreasing because people aren't getting in relationships and they're not having kids. And they're like, how are we going to fix this? We're going to have to teach people how to socialise again. So it's a real thing. Like,
so virtual reality is disrupting the biological processes or social processes that go on as well. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that already. Even with the amount of anxiety that we get. I don't know if I can speak for everyone with anxiety, but I feel as though social media and all this stuff, the way things move so fast is what's causing all this social anxiety, all this like
mental health in general.
Too much to digest.
Yeah.
With like, we have like an infinite amount of things that we can consume on social media, but a limited lifetime. So then we feel like we need to spend as much time as possible on there to kind of see as much as possible, get as much information as possible. Because we are, as Jordan Peterson said, I don't know if you got to this part, but he said that we're information foragers, as well as hunter gatherers.
Oh, okay.
So then when we have something like the internet at our disposal,
we are naturally gonna
go and look and try and get as much information as possible. So we can't blame ourselves, but we should recognize that that's what it is, I suppose. So for Bandersnatch, did you feel like the element of choice or interaction through controlling the main character added to the film?
I feel like it was the film.
It was that choice.
I feel like there wasn't much. Not that there wasn't a storyline. There was a storyline, but they really got across the point that you are in control more than this is the story. It was more, we're just going to make this as interactive as possible, and the storyline will follow that interaction rather than this is our story. Let's let them choose this, that. It was very sort of watcher focused.
Did you feel like you had an element of choice? Because I didn't feel like, I didn't choose, but I feel like it wasn't giving you that element of choice on purpose. Because you know when he was at the psychologist and then he was saying, "Oh, I found it much more easier if I just didn't." I gave them the illusion of free will or the illusion of choice, but I'm really controlling it.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was what Netflix did, because remember when you said, "Oh, I don't want to kill my dad. I don't want to kill my dad." It just kept me.
I felt like the more you got into the game, the more you realised you didn't really have a choice.
Yeah, you didn't really.
At first, you started it and you were like, "Yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going," and you was really in control. But then, even like with the film as well, it would give you more like subtle hints as well that you're actually not in control with like what he was saying and stuff.
Yeah.
So then you just realise that
even if you press the button,
it's just helpless.
Do you feel like that's a Black Mirror? I was gonna say, do you feel like it mirrors reality? You know, like when you come into the world, you feel like, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that, but then you kind of get narrowed down. And then your choices become limited. Yeah. And then you just
do what you have to.
Yeah. And then you just do what you have to.
Your dad.
Yeah.
That's not right. Do what you got to do.
Yeah. So I feel like.
But it is,
You feel like that's what it was reflecting.
Yeah. You think you do. Life is full of all these options, when you realise you can't do half of them.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah.
Alright. So did any of the episodes of season 5 or Bandersnatch remind you of any other TV show or movie or movies? TV shows or movies?
Yeah, what was I thinking? I think when I watched Bandersnatch, Not a specific movie. I don't know if you ever did watch The Butterfly Effect.
I haven't
But the
yet,
whole
no.
concept of the butterfly effect, which is if you change one thing, it changes everything else.
Okay.
All similar to like, did we watch Memento?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like when one thing changes, everything else, it's like the domino effect, the ripple effect. Sort of. I had that sort of idea of Bandersnatch, but then not really, because like we were saying, you didn't get much of a choice.
Mm-hmm.
But I had that sense that, okay, if I select this option, it's going to have a whole different... Like, what was his friend's name that jumps off the building?
Colin.
It's like, which one do you want to jump? And then
Really,
you
Like
should
one of
see
us
him
should.
later on, but then he's still like, Colin, I made you jump all
Yeah.
back then. Why are you still alive here? But it was, What else was there? Let me think of the other episodes.
For me, I'll let me go on Bandersnatch movies while you're thinking. The movies it reminded me of were The Truman Show and Groundhog Day. I felt like it was
And what?
Groundhog Day.
I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen that? That's basically a film with what's his name? It's gonna annoy me that I don't remember it. Yeah, Truman Show is the one.
Is it a black film?
No.
Groundhog. No. It's
I haven't seen.
Bill Murray.
Haven't seen it.
It's basically, you've heard the concept though, I know. It's basically, I know this, because it's basically the same day repeating itself.
Long. Yeah.
And then he's just going through the same day over and over again.
Oh man.
You have heard that concept before?
Yeah.
I've
it's in different films and they're trying to get somewhere or something in the same...
I think I've watched one recently with Marlon Wayans.
Oh yes,
that
that
the
was
wedding
getting married
one
or something.
Yeah, he's getting married
naked
and
in the
he
lift.
keeps repeating the
Yeah,
same.
I don't even remember.
Maybe you might
naked.
Maybe you might remember it if
Yeah,
you see
it's
it.
called Naked.
It's called Naked in the lift. And he's...
This is the film cover.
Okay, I feel like I've seen that face, but I've never seen the film.
I haven't.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's the one. And for season 5, I felt like Striking Vipers reminded me of San Junipero. And it felt like, the thing that I didn't like about season 5, I felt like, although it was an interesting concept, I felt like they were rehashes of episodes, and I felt like Charlie Brooker's running out of ideas.
Yeah.
Because season 5, well, this Striking Vipers one we're watching right now, felt as though it was a rehash of San Junipero.
Very similar theme, actually, yeah.
And I felt as though the thing, you know what, what's it? The Ashley 2 one, that with the one with Miley Cyrus, that one reminded me of what we were talking about in our previous episodes. About cloning consciousness.
Yes.
That was pretty much exactly
And then
that.
they said something and I was like, what? Yeah.
I was just like...
I wish there was a phrase that I was thinking, see?
Yeah.
That was a good one. I think
Yeah.
that was maybe one of my favourite because it was different to, like you said, the first and second episode I think were kind of repeated. Was earlier done in the series. But the third episode hadn't really...
It took a twist because I didn't think that was what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I kind of thought like the Ashley 2 toy would like control her.
Something like that. I thought it was going to be something like that, yeah.
Live the fame.
So, yeah.
Similar. What was that one where there's that egg and the woman lives in there?
That one, that's the one, White
Similar
Christmas.
to-
Yeah. I was thinking there was another one that I'm thinking of, but I can't remember it right
So
now.
it's similar, but no, it was good to like that one.
Yeah. So I felt like, the thing is with those episodes, it felt like it was building up. Let's say the third episode, the Ashley 2 one, it felt like it was building up from that White Christmas episode.
Yeah.
But with Striking Vipers, it felt like it was just a different way of saying San Junipero. So that's, yeah. And the question I had for that Ashley 2 episode is that if we're able to make a synaptic snapshot of our minds at a specific moment in time, does it then allow for decisions to be made on our behalf by that synaptic? So basically Ashley 2, she's basically she described herself as a synaptic snapshot. So basically a snapshot of Ashley original, her brain.
Yeah.
So that she was her, but from that specific moment in time.
Yeah.
And if you remember that in the first episode of the recording we've done, I was talking about how if they could copy your cells exactly and then recreate you on another planet, would that be you, or would that be different to you? So it's similar in that sense. So what I'm asking is that if that was possible, where someone would take a snapshot of your brain or your mind at a specific moment in time, let's say the beginning of this year, let's say beginning of 2019, does it then allow for, let's say if they were to make that into a robot and so on and so forth, would that robot be able to make decisions on your behalf? Like, let's say, you know how, let's say Ashley 2 was like, oh, I don't want to be in that position. I'm Ashley, I know I wouldn't want to be in that position. So it's kind of like, I'm asking, if you were to, God forbid, be in a position in which you would have the option, or people around you would have the option of doing euthanasia on you, would you allow your snapshot to make that decision for you?
Nah,
you wouldn't.
No, I think I would. That's a mad question.
That's quite a mad question.
I think I would. Oh,
to an extent, it's still you. It's still like your thoughts and stuff, but it just isn't the latest version. So in that space of time,
a lot could happen.
A lot could have changed.
Yeah.
But
that's my
on the basis, it's like it's still.
Yeah. Okay, so let me make it a bit harder then. If the snapshot.
These are updates.
iOS update. I was gonna say, if it updates every day, backup daily. It backs up daily.
Okay. It's your most recent version.
So your most recent version of yourself. Okay. But then you can't communicate.
Yes, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, it's yes from that time. But yet you're still feeling like, oh.
It's just not me.
Yeah.
But I get, it depends. Because like in the Ashley 2, there could be restrictions on it. Is it my whole consciousness?
Or it's your whole consciousness. It's your whole consciousness. Not the limit. There's no limit on it. It's unfiltered.
Sure though.
Yeah, it's just
that can be like, yeah. But yeah, I think so.
You would.
If it was possible.
If it was like
accuracy.
Yeah. Daily updates.
Did it, yeah.
Okay, cool. Daily backups.
Daily backup.
Okay, the reason why I asked this one as well, because we have a current version of that, but not as, what's the word?
Do we?
Yeah, with wills, when we make wills.
Okay. You didn't say something else.
No. We have,
but
it's not with technology. It's just basically with writing. So at one moment in time, you wrote so and so. I would want to be buried instead of cremated. Yeah. In that length of time since you wrote your will, let's say 2 years ago, you actually felt, oh no, I want to be cremated instead. But they're taking what you wrote 2 years ago and making a decision on what you wanted, what would be the most current. So then let's say, for example, the fact that we make a will, then it's kind of like, if we actually think of it like that, then when a person dies a significant amount of time after their will, is it really what they want to do? Like you said, like there's
so much can change.
Exactly. But then if we did have the synaptic snapshot where it would update daily, that would be more so what you'd...
But then I'm also just like, should we be doing that morally? Like, shouldn't we just... There's a reason... Everything happens for a reason. And if I'm not able to make that decision as an actual physical person, then we shouldn't be using snapshots, anything. We should just be accepting, that's it.
But the fact that we have the technology, why wouldn't we be able to use it to the most accurate degree?
But then we can say that for a lot of things. Why not? We have the technology. Let's do it. Let's blow up
the
planet.
But it's not... No. Yeah, but the thing is... exactly. No, exactly. But
nuclear weapons, let's use them.
No.
Why not?
This is different. The reason why I say this is different is because I'm making the value judgment that this is for the good. My own value judgment. I don't know if it's you, because I feel like that's a good version of what we could use the technology for. And it's kind of like what I was talking about in the beginning with the opening questions. Like, what's the most selfish thing you'd use it for? What's the most altruistic thing you'd use it for? I don't feel like making those snapshots from all the knowledge that I have right now, I don't feel like I can see a detriment to it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's... The only thing... Okay, actually, no. I'm lying. The only thing that could be a detriment is if it lands in the wrong hands. So, like, you know how Ashley's auntie was controlling her? Yeah. And even controlling her creative process, using her synaptics, taking her song, creating it in the way that she wants to do. That just reminds me of stuff like when people make posthumous albums for people. Yeah. It's kind of like it sounds good, but is that how they? Is that what they wanted to? They wanted it to delivered, or did they even want it to come out?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
We're overstepping a bit,
and
it's a bit. Do you know what did I watch on Netflix? It was like a kids, I don't remember the name of it. These two black kids, a girl and a guy, and they make these little time traveling machine things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's the name of the film? That's really going to annoy me. I have to look for it. But it's similar to like that film that you were saying, where it's just in one day. So there's a time. Basically, her brother dies, and there's a certain window back in time that she can go to, but she's only got 10 minutes, and she's trying to prevent her brother getting shot in that time frame. But they do it. Her and her best friend, they go back in time so many times, but then every time something happens, it changes, and then it changes the outcome. Yeah, and it starts duplicating realities because she keeps going back, but the outcome still remains. And it's like these little things that we're doing for us for the good, they're having huge effects because 1 second can literally change something for the entire process of the universe. I'm like, that's the only reason why I'm like, should we be doing it? Because then we're messing with things that shouldn't be messed with. But there are good aspects to it. But that was a good concept of the film. But I don't have to remember what it's called.
That reminds me of Bandersnatch still.
Yeah,
you know when he
it was very, very similar.
When he says, when Colin, you know when they have the LSD trip?
Yeah.
And then Colin says, people think there's one reality, but there's loads of them all snaking off like roots. And what we do on one path affects what happens on other paths. Time is a construct. People think you can't go back and change things, but you can. That's what flashbacks are. They're invitations to go back and make different choices. When you make a decision, you think it's you doing it, but it's not. It's the spirit out there that's connected to our world that decides what we do, and we just have to go along with the ride. Do you agree with that? So then let's say, for example, that you feel like we shouldn't have the technology to be able to time travel. Like, let's say, for example, if we take the first question, if we would be able to time travel, use technology to be able to travel back in time and stop certain things like JFK dying or Martin Luther King dying or Malcolm
Then
X.
Something else is always going to happen.
Or like try and murder, or arrest, let's say, Hitler for what he's done, or Stalin for what he's done, or Mao, I think, for what he's done. And prevent them from doing certain things, from committing certain acts.
What was your question again? Do I agree?
Like, let's say, what's the original question? So basically, all I'm asking is that if we had, I'm going back to the first question. So if we had the technology to be able to do things like time travel and stop
these things
or change certain outcomes,
do you know what?
Would it be?
I feel like in an ideal world, yes. It would be amazing. It's great. We can stop these things. But I think something bad is always going to happen. And everything happens for a reason. Everything I believe things are balanced. And if there's not one bad thing, if we go back and we eradicate the Holocaust, something else will probably happen anyway. Like, that is how things are supposed to pan out. And that is just life. And it's sad, but we're not going to live one happy life forever. There is a part of us that has to go through suffering. We have to go through loss, through grief, through mourning, everything. Like, we're not just going to be on 100 all the time. So we have to experience the bad with the good. So I think it's a great idea. Go back, and there's a few different things I'd change in my past, but ultimately I think that makes us what we are. Everything in life is a lesson. That brings, like, life would be boring if we could just go back and change it and make everything perfect. What would be the point of life?
You know what? I was listening to a song. I don't know if you guys know it, but Bashi. It was by Bashi and it's called Change. He released it on his first album.
Oh, it's been a while back.
Not his Chop Chops mixtapes, but his album. But basically it's called Change, and then he was kind of talking about how there were certain things that he would have wanted to change in his life, and he goes through the song talking about that. But then at the end he said, you know what, even though all these things I'll change, maybe I'll just leave it the same because they made me who I am right now.
Yeah.
And I go through that struggle every day because I feel like there's so many regrets that I'd feel like I wish I didn't do that, or I wish I didn't do that. But at the same time, I'm thinking, how would I have thought, or how would I think now if I didn't make that choice? Because the fact that I make that choice is kind of like a reason why I don't judge someone so harshly, or the reason why how I approach certain things for now.
It's because of that.
It's because of that whole experience, because I've experienced it. So maybe it's just the experience that kind of experience is the best teacher, let's say.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Talking about, okay, let's just kind of review the season.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what do you think about the season? What would you rate it out of 10, let's say? And the season and Bandersnatch, what would you rate out of 10 and what word would you use to describe it?
In comparison to the other seasons, the word I would use is mediocre.
You think it's mediocre?
It wasn't... The other seasons, there was at least one episode that I was like, damn, like, my head is mind blown.
Yeah.
There was nothing really in this season where I was like, yeah, amazing.
I think I agree with that.
It was.
I felt like it was underwhelming.
Yeah.
I felt like it was quite
compared
underwhelming.
to what they've done before.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like
underwhelming. Yeah.
Like you said, they're kind of running out of ideas.
Yeah.
I got that kind of.
It's a shame.
It's a shame.
They're so sick. Like they're out of the box thinking concepts, and they just weren't that really.
Yeah.
This season.
I agree. I think so. I think they're starting to rehash ideas. They're not. They don't know. No, I don't want to say they don't know, but yeah, everything just feels like a repeat a bit.
Yeah. Is it always 3 episodes as well?
No, it changes. The first season was 3. The second season was 4 episodes. The third season was 6.
I went to watch another and I was like, is that it?
I forgot. I think the 4th season was 5 or 6, maybe.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Maybe it's good they didn't do any more because otherwise it would just be the same repeat sort of stories as well. But yeah, it didn't feel like Black Mirror. Like there weren't, like you said, like with the smithereens, you're looking like there should be another meaning, but it's like
it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
We did have that though before.
Yeah, we did have that, but still well filmed and everything. Really, like when he first played the game in the virtual reality, I was like, that is sick. I want to play that game, and then they just wasted the whole virtual reality. But
you think so? You think it was like a waste of a concept?
No. I mean, their time in the virtual reality.
Oh. I thought you meant from the writer's perspective.
No. From the writer, it was good, but yeah, quite repetitive from the last ones. Out of 10, it was just meh for me.
Yeah, I'd say it was like a 5.
Yeah, I don't want to
5.
give it that. Maybe a 6.
Yeah,
6 because it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great.
Yeah, 6. I think I'll
give it a 6. Just
about. Because nothing's pulling me back. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying.
Nothing's really pulling me. To be honest, the fact that I watched it twice. Normally, I don't mind watching Black Mirror twice.
Me either.
Even Bandersnatch, I watched it once. I couldn't watch it again.
Even halfway through, I was like, should I continue?
Yeah. I was like, I'm going to bed. Like, all these options, I'm not getting anything.
Exactly.
I was over it.
You don't really want my options because when I'm giving it to you, you're still coming back telling me kill dad. I already told you I don't want to do that. And still you're presenting with the opposite. Yeah.
I felt like with Bandersnatch though, it was just like a nice idea, but not. I didn't really get anything from it.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
As in, like, I felt like they were just playing with this idea, but they never really came to any. I don't want to say like a conclusion where it settles everything, but it felt like it was open.
Yeah.
At the end, from where I reached, it felt like okay. So you showed me this.
The end. I thought what?
Yeah, exactly. Once I got there, I was like, okay.
What ending did you get to?
Multiple. Like then just basically with the woman where she pours the coffee on the computer and then she smashes the screen and then it kind of I forgot it. This is the thing. I mean, as in like even the ending didn't feel like ending. It felt like it was just
a clip of something.
A clip of something.
We
That's
didn't really follow. There was no. I think it was more they were piloting the use of having an interactive watcher, but there was no storyline really.
Yeah, I didn't.
It didn't feel like there would be an ending because we sort of just jumped around from here. It was just playing around with the concept of having options, but there was, it wasn't great.
Then I think mainly it's just the fact that he ends up in prison, really.
Yeah.
And then they're always telling him try again.
Did he end up in prison in mine?
I got to prison.
And then he was just like,
I got to prison a couple
because mine, the dad, he found out the dad he did. because he killed the dad. Yeah.
He just ends up in prison, and then they're telling him to try again.
Yeah.
Start again.
Yes.
But
that also like a 5.
Yeah, nothing.
6 for the interactive part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that one was
I felt like it's just an
Even
interesting.
some of them, I was just like, well, what difference? What cereal I'm gonna pick?
Yeah.
Well, you just want me to make choices.
Yeah, exactly.
Of it now. Give him whatever he wants.
I think that would have been better if it was like, okay, so I don't know. You know what? If like, let's say the cereal that he picked, this might sound so bizarre. The cereal that he picked had more fiber in it. Yeah. So then when he went toilet. It stopped him. It stopped him from making a certain choice. So then it had a lead-on effect down the line.
Yeah.
That one, it would have made sense why they brought it in, but that one
wasn't that at the beginning.
Yeah.
So I guess it was just to get you
used to the whole thing. Yeah, I felt like that as well. But at the same time, it would have been nice to think, oh yeah, this is just a minor choice. But then it was like, oh no, I shouldn't have picked that. Yeah. And then that would have happened. That kind of thing. Because if you, I don't know, you might notice, like, let's say, I don't know, if you eat a certain thing, like, I don't know, a cake or certain sugars, if you choose to give into or certain fatty foods, you might feel a bit run down later on in the day, which makes you kind of less able to interact with something or less likely to do something. So it would affect things in that way. So I would have liked them to do something like that. Yeah. But that would have been
I think if this is the first version, it is just to test out how it works. Cool. If they make something big out of it, I'd try again. If they do have a better story. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll say underwhelming for both.
Yeah.
Underwhelming. I can kind of see what they're trying to do, making it meta with Bandersnatch, like self-referential, but it just felt like they were trying to be... It was a bit pretentious in the sense that it was trying to be more than it was. Yeah. That's what it is. So, underwhelming, mediocre.
To answer one of your other questions, what did it remind you of? The Bandersnatch one kind of reminded me of the one where he's in that haunted house a bit.
Playtest.
Yeah, the playtest. Yeah. I kind of felt like I was in his position playing.
Really?
Yeah. I feel like you have to choose the right answer. Yeah. Otherwise something, I want to find the name of that film.
But, mediocre.
Mediocre as well.
And overhyped. I kind of felt like Mira's coming back and back, and it was just like.
But that's because we had the expectation that it was gonna be great.
Has the main question? I haven't been on social media that much, but has the main question been going around? Is he gay?
Who?
The guy in Striking Vipers.
Has
that been the main question?
To be honest, people, I think
that's been the main question that's come up. Does it make you gay?
Because it was kind of like, is he gay? Is he actually cheating? Or is he not? Or like, it was
that group of questions. Oh, like grey areas, and like, does it count as cheating if it's virtual reality?
Does it count as he's gay?
Does it count as he's gay if he's doing that as well? Does it have so basically, do the choices that you make, do the choices that you make in virtual reality, not necessarily are they morally accountable, basically? Are you morally accountable for them?
Yeah, but
or do they affect who you are or who you identify as in reality?
Because they did kiss in the rain to see if that's how they felt, and they didn't. Well, so it was like...
I guess we can kind of apply that to, like, let's say virtual killing when people are playing video games or whatever. Yeah. They don't feel those urges in real life. They wouldn't feel to kill someone, but in the actual game they'll feel to. So
I don't think he is gay either, because in the virtual reality it's not two men that are attracted to each other.
A girl and a guy.
Yeah.
Guy is just the girl.
I felt like Carl might be.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like
Danny.
I feel like he was, but I feel like that's because he's got nothing else with him. Like, at least the other guy was named Danny. He had his family, he had a wife. Carl had no one. Like, he's got a stranger in his bed, different girl every time. He was just trying to fulfill something. Yeah. So he could have been, but...
Or maybe it's not about that. Maybe I don't want to pigeonhole it into that yet. Maybe it's not about sexuality. Maybe it's about the fact that he's just addicted to the higher level feeling. So it's kind of like, the Black Museum episode. Yeah. In that sense.
Yeah.
As in, like, he just wants to get the most amount of pleasure as possible.
I think that is what gaming is like. You do just want all the heightened senses.
The euphoria of it. Yeah. That is true.
Yeah. And I guess that's why you get addicted to it, because you don't get that in real life.
Yeah.
True. That is true. And I feel like that explains why I've kind of faded off video games, because I don't get the same euphoria I used to get. But obviously, when you grow up, that's what happens, really.
For some people.
Yeah. Adulting, yeah, exactly. Video editing's my gaming now. Yeah. But yeah, no, thanks guys. Thanks for coming. As usual.
Good as always.
Always appreciated.
What's next?